Hello, you're watching the view from Vauxhall Road where it's finished here in the National League South. Hemel Hempstead Town 1, Taunton Town 1. It was a scrappy game, to be fair, with Taunton taking the lead, but the Tudors responded through 𝗙𝗍ciecie𝗁𝗴𝗄 to go into the break, a 1-1 at half-time. But it was a stalemate in the second half, and we can now see all the key moments, the goals and the highlights. So let's take a look at those now. So those were the key moments, the goals and the highlights from today's game. So let's now cross over to manager Mark Jones to see what his thoughts were after that draw. Okay, Mark, listened to the opposition manager interview just a short while ago, and he seems to think that a point was a fair result. Would that be your thoughts as well?
Yeah, I could see why he possibly said that. Fine margins, as we say. But ultimately, we are disappointed with a point. If you look at our 2 home games this week, without sort of analysing the games too much, just the bare fact of it, we've only picked up 1 point out of our last 2 home games, and that isn't a good enough return. So we are disappointed. There wasn't a lot in the game. Wasn't a game full of clear-cut chances. But to be fair, Taunton don't concede many goals. Their goals against record is very good. They defend solidly. I was disappointed with the first goal we gave away. I mean, it was the needless corner, to be honest with you. We didn't need to give the corner away, and we have done. And it's the first time they've sort of come anywhere near our box, and it's ended in the back of our net. People have got jobs to do, and they're not doing them. So that's something for me to look at. So that was disappointing. Because I actually thought we started the game quite brightly. But, say their first sort of attack, really, we've ended up conceding. We gave a decent reaction and Kate managed to come back and get the equaliser. And then second half, you're looking for us to sort of probably create more and cause more problems for them. But, as I say, in all credit to them, I mean, they don't concede many goals. If you look at their goals against record, it's good. I don't want to talk about the referee, but... I'm not so sure that's a foul by 𝗿𝗿𝗀𝗂𝗧 that he disallows. I mean, it's 2 players chasing for a ball. I don't think there's hardly any contact there at all, and he's a long way away from that sort of that action. The linesman's closer. He doesn't give anything. And, so you do need those little things to go for you. We score that goal, win the game 2-1. Most people will go away happy. So it is fine margins. We obviously had 1 cleared off the line as well, second half. I'll go 𝗿𝗿𝗲𝗀 again. Some people might say, could he have squared it to 𝗍𝗿𝗲? But, he's going for the shot. And to be fair, the lad heads it off the line. So, little bits like that, you do need to go for you. But, yeah, I mean, look, you can analyse the game as much as you want dissect it. But the fact is, we have only got 1 point out of our last 2 home games, and that isn't good enough from us.
Is this a little bit of a turning point because you would have seen these 2 games as a key key fixtures in your sort of going into the Christmas period where it gets slightly busier, and then looking ahead to the new year in terms of some of the milestones you want to achieve?
Well, listen, you've got to keep going. Football has a funny way of sort of changing round quickly. We're disappointed, but you talk about, Tuesday we didn't win, but Eastbourne have gone to Slough today and thumped them 5-1, and they're on their form has been decent. That was a tight game, probably should have been a draw, but we made a horrendous mistake. And today's tight, so we're not miles away, but yeah, for the standards that we set ourselves, we want to be competing at the right end of the table, and depends how you sort of look at it. I mean, as I've been honest enough to say that it's not good enough to get 1 point out of our last 2 home games. You could flip that round and say, well, we haven't been beaten today, and that type of thing. But yeah, ultimately the feeling in the dressing room at the moment is frustration, disappointment. But I don't think we're a million miles away. But perhaps this week I need to try and bring sort of 1 or 2 in to help the group. We obviously got Corey Roberts and Jack Westbrook out, 2 centre halves. Craig King, with concussion. So if you look at the back sort of players today, it's very young. I mean, David Saunders come in goal at 19, and I thought he didn't let us down at all. He did very competent. But Harris is, 19, a young player from Charlton. Kyle Ajayi, is only a young player, 22, but he hasn't got much experience in terms of games played. So we're quite young there at the back. And as I've been saying for a few weeks, we probably need to try and get a proven striker at the top of the pitch. But, they're not easy to pluck out of thin air, those types of players. But we'll keep going. Look, that's one thing we will do. We'll keep preparing professionally. You can't sort of get your head down and sort of, get too high with a high and then lows with a lows. You've got to keep an even head in football, and you have to keep working. But yeah, like I keep saying, ultimately we are disappointed with our points return from the 2 home games this week.
And lastly, obviously, I know that you're not one to necessarily pull out excuses out the bag, but you do mention those players missing there. And I think, in the recent weeks, there has been a bit of inconsistency in terms of who you've had available to select, and ultimately that changes games sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, we certainly don't look to use it as an excuse, because there'll be other teams in our league with injuries and missing key players. And like we said at the start, it's always an opportunity for others to come in and impress. But yeah, we're not miles away. If you look at the 2 games, that we've only got 1 point from, there's not a lot in the games, and we do some good things. I wouldn't say that it's we're miles off in our performance and it's terrible, but I accept that you get judged on results. You've got to win games. That's the job, and our players know that. And they are disappointed in there that we haven't won the game. But like I say, I mean, you do need things to go for you, and I think we scored a sort of perfectly good goal that was disallowed when there wasn't a lot in it. I mean, to be fair, even their manager sort of said to me he didn't think it was a foul, and the referee gives it while he's 25 yards away. The linesman's a lot closer, doesn't give a thing. So, we could do with a little bit of help, but that's football. As I say, we just have to keep grounded, look at where we need to improve, and you keep going, and that's what you do.
So those were the thoughts of manager Mark Jones. It's now time to turn our attentions to the Goal of the Month competition as we head towards the end of November. And let's take a look at this month's contenders. So those are your Goal of the Month nominees. Now you can vote for your favourite by using the link in the description below. So within this video, click the link down below and you will be taken to a form in which you can cast your vote. Now the votes will close on Wednesday of next week, so get your votes in as soon as you can. Well, I think there'll be one that's certainly definitely up there. Not that I want to affect the result in any way, but cast your votes and we will announce who the Goal of the Month for November is later next week. And joining me now is defender Kyle Ajayi. Kyle, I don't think we've actually interviewed you too many times on this show after playing a full 90. So how are you feeling after that?
I want to say I feel great, but my body really hurts. But nothing recovery won't fix. But it was good to be out there again playing, getting that feeling back like usual.
And it was a very scrappy game, certainly second half. A few challenges flying in, and both teams getting to know each other quite well in those huddles. So what was it like to play in today? Obviously not necessarily the result that the team would have wanted. Everyone goes out to win, but difficult start to the game on the back foot quite early on.
Yeah, it was a difficult start, to be fair. It always is the first 10 minutes of both halves are always different. They're crucial. Like I said, a set piece, little mistakes went on and it causes a goal, and then that just puts us on our back foot. And a day like this, proper, like windy, things like that, it's just always hard to get back into the game.
For you personally, obviously coming back after injury, playing the number of minutes you have done in the last sort of week or so, Does that play a part in terms of not only physically but mentally, in terms of how you read the game, how you cope with the game?
Yeah, it does. Not training as much and then coming back in was tough, to be fair. But the management, they have been looking after me. The physio has been looking after me. But that match fitness is always different to training fitness. So getting 60, 70 minutes and then a full 90, it's not a big difference in the matches. But mentally, I've always been quite strong. So I've always knew, don't stop. Whatever you do, don't stop. And then the whistle will finally go. And then after the game, that's when I start feeling my aches and pains.
Well, half time then, we go in 1-1. Josh gets the goal. Very well worked goal. Did you feel then going in at half time that actually there was something to play for in the second half?
Yeah, 100%. Even if we went in 1-0 down, there's always something to play for. It's football. But 1-0 down made us push a bit more. It gave us a bit of a license to push more players forward, to go get something back, which we done. 𝗙𝗿𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀 worked along his side well, and the ball went across. That's just pushing a lot of people forward, and then it was a well-worked goal.
And second half, we did have we had maybe a couple of chances, certainly through, I think it was Dara, had one cleared off the line, and Ogo had his opportunity. What was your sort of thoughts on that? Because on the Ogo opportunity, because the referee had obviously called for a foul, didn't look too much in it, to be fair.
I would have to look at it back. I'm not too sure about if it was a foul or like it was quite easy. But it's hard knowing what goes on in the refs' heads, things like that. You just got to react to the decision. It was a bit harsh, I reckon, but like I said, I'm gonna have to watch it back.
And then there was a challenge just down here in front of us, sort of halfway through that second half, and then everyone just seemed to get a little bit too bothered about what was going on. What was happening around that?
It was a normal challenge, I reckon. Well, one of my normal challenges. Maybe I put one on him a bit, but that's football. You can't just huddle around and expect not to get hurt. So it was a little challenge, but that's football. The game can't go that soft, surely. So everyone's just getting a bit hyped up, which I kind of like. But at the end of the day, it's just a normal tackle.
And a mention for David Saunders, obviously coming back from his loan spell at Berkhamsted, coming into the side today in an emergency situation. What was that like for you? Because obviously a different voice behind you, but he seemed to sort of grow into the game and made some really good saves.
Yeah, as a player, as a centre back, it's all like it is quite different hearing a different voice, different movements, actions from the keeper, because you always rely on the voices from behind. But I thought he done really well to get chucked straight in and playing. He made some great saves, kept us in the game, and I thought his decision making was good, because sometimes whether or not things might be on, it might not be the right decision, which he done. So I do think he done well, and it was a big help. Good talking to us as well.
And Concord away next week. It's an early kickoff with the World Cup going on. Is that an opportunity for the team? Because they've probably had a very indifferent season. You could maybe draw some similarities to ourselves where they're struggling to put together that solid run. Is that an opportunity that the boys see as a must, not a must win, because obviously we're still quite early on in the season, still a lot to play for, but ultimately everyone goes to get 3 points. Is that one where the lads are looking at saying we've got to come back with those 3 points?
Yes, it is a must-win game. You might look at games and think you could drop points here, pick up points there, but every game's a must-win game. You can't go into the game and expect not to win or to lose. You have to start the game thinking, I want to win. So we'll go away to Concord with the mentality of we must win this game, because that's how it should be. And it will be a brilliant place to pick up some points.
Well, my thanks to Kyle for joining us. He's climbed up those stairs with some aches and pains. So my thanks to him. But that's pretty much all we've got time for this edition of The View from Vauxhall Road. Join us in a few weeks' time. But if you are going ahead to Concord, don't forget that it is an earlier kickoff. 12:30 is the kickoff down there. So set your alarms nice and early. But until then, goodbye.